Namaste everyone, I'm going to do a video today talking about my survival of a house fire that I had in 2013. And it was eclipse season, and I had the moon eclipse happening in my 6th house of health and routine. But in my 6th house I have Uranus transiting, so that moon eclipse was happening conjuncted to Uranus, and Uranus is that planet of, shock and excitement. So it was happening in my 6th house of health, of life. And I was a little concerned because I was like, what is this, lunar eclipse going to bring to me that's going to be so, shocking? So I was a little bit scared because the 6th house has to do with life, okay? It has to do with your well-being, So I was very concerned for my well-being. And this freak accident happened a week before the initial eclipse. So this means that the actual happenings could actually happen like 2 weeks before the eclipse, or during the eclipse, or after. So that's why it's very important not to do anything drastic during eclipse season. Coming back to the house fire, I remember telephoning my cousin and telling him, look, I am very scared. I think something's really gonna happen because of this conjunction. And he's like, oh, take it easy, meditate. I'm currently meditating right now, take a nice shower. You're overreacting. You're bringing this astrology thing too far. So just take a shower and relax. So I said, maybe I should take his advice. Maybe I should, just relax and, meditate. So I got into the shower, and after I finished showering, I had heard my grandmother screaming, like a big scream and a big boom. But I didn't really pay attention because my family's Latin and they're always screaming, so I never take anything serious. But as I was putting my clothes on, I heard another scream from her, and I heard another boom. And then I said, man, something's, weird. And I also heard something like spicy, like some sort of spicy noise. And then I started to get concerned. I was like, well, that's weird. So I got out of the bathroom. I was already clothed, thank God. And when I went to the kitchen, it was a ring of fire. And what had happened was that my grandmother had put cooking oil on the stove, and she had left it on, and she went to see her soap opera. And that was just boiling and boiling. What happened, it just, it just exploded, and it went all over the kitchen. Everything was engulfed in flames, okay? The whole kitchen was engulfed in flames real quick. So I needed to act quick because nobody in the house knew what was going on. I was the only one. Everybody was in their own little world, watching TV. So the first thing I did was hop over her, okay? And I knew she was going to be alright. She was conscious, and she was getting up already for the 3rd round. My grandmother is fire. People underestimate that she's 80. But she is nowhere near the mentality of an 80-year-old, okay? But anyway, so I hopped over her, okay? Because I had to hop because there was fire all over the place. I was very concerned about Apple and, my birds, so I don't know how it happened, but when you have a lot of adrenaline, you don't realize the things that you do. But I picked up one of my birds' cage and I ran outside quickly, and I put it outside because I just wanted to get that out of the way. I didn't want my birds, dying in a fire. So after I put my birds outside, I went to go all the way to the backyard running to tell my grandfather what's going on. He was sleeping and he's super slow, and I told him, if you don't get up, you're gonna die in a fire because I'm not gonna help you. I got to help my grandmother. So he got up, he realized what was going on, and he went over there, and he immediately started to turn off all the electrics in the house because if, we don't want the whole house to blow up. So he ran outside to get the water hose. He was pretty calm. I didn't know my grandfather could handle a situation like this, but he was so calm. So I was helping him by opening the water hose, and also I was calling, 911. And at this time, when I was finished opening the hose and he went inside with the water hose, helping my grandmother battle the fire, I decided to run around the block, try to get some help from my neighbors. At this time I had a lot of traffic in front of my house, and my house is not, it's not a central place where there's traffic. Barely anybody passes by. But I had a lot of cars in traffic in front of my house, and I was wondering what's going on. Okay, is this like Armageddon? And it turns out that there was an explosion, okay, another explosion across the street because of in a gas station. So there was another accident, okay. So anyways, I tried to get one of the cars that were in front of me to help me, but nobody paid attention to me, and they were all women, Okay, I gotta say this, that there's a lot of women in Miami. I mean, barely any men. I ran across the street and I tried to get my neighbor to help me, but he wasn't there. And his kids were like, "We don't open the doors to a stranger." And I was like, see, this is the thing about fluoride. People are really stupid, and even kids are dumb. They know who I am, and they're saying that they're not gonna open a door to a stranger, right? In a fire, and they know me. So anyway, so I forgot about that, and I went back to help my grandfather. And to make the story short, the fire department came pretty late because we had a big traffic jam in front of the house that couldn't help us put up the fire. So thankfully nobody was injured. My grandmother did suffer from the lungs, like lung problems from, you know, the smoke, the black smoke, but you know, they gave her oxygen. Other than that, the only thing we had was that the kitchen, you know, was totally demolished. So we have a new kitchen now, and thank God it didn't spread to the whole house, because it was actually getting to that point. The lunar eclipse is something I do not mess with, okay? And then later on I called my cousin and I told him what happened. He's like, "What? There was an explosion in your house?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, you know, your life is so full of action, you know? You're like an action hero." And then the next day I realized, when I saw, you know, when I actually realized what had happened, my ego was so big. I was like, "Man, I feel like a superhero," you know? So, I didn't know that I could survive something so yes, this was my bizarre house fire story. So I hope you enjoyed this crazy story of mine, and have a beautiful day.